Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how the Screen television series characters are a whole lot more interesting than Screen 5 and 6 characters combined and are done better in the modern day. So, I've been doing a lot of thinking about Scream lately, in case you haven't noticed. And so, like, as I'm still just complexed over Scream 5 and 6 and the characterization and like what's been going on and this and that, I started recently thinking about the television series, something I haven't thought about in a good while. I keep having mixed feelings about the television series. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, sometimes I'm in the middle. And I just don't know how I really feel about the television series. It doesn't help that I haven't watched it in many years, except for a few episodes I recorded on VHS and then later converted on over to DVD. And so, with that said, I remember when I first started watching the television series, I came halfway into season 2, and I absolutely loved it. Then I was curious to see what all happened. I went to season 1, went to season 2, and season 2 rubbed me the wrong way towards the end, especially with that Halloween special that they did. That was supposed to tie up loose ends, but just went in a completely different direction. Then came season 3, and it just changed everything, and I did not like season 3 whatsoever. Except for the kills, those were pretty cool. And it was nice seeing Ghostface back, the real Ghostface and stuff. But season 3 felt rushed, and it didn't help that it was on hiatus for the longest time and went to a completely different channel, and it had different like writers and executive producers, and then it went on that huge hiatus and it just got canceled, nobody really knew. And so that left me with a bad taste in my mouth for the television series and for a lot of other people as well. And you know what? I truly think the television series did more harm than good to the overall franchise of Scream when it comes to that of the movies. Because it left a sour taste in people's mouths that when they went back to the movies, we got stuck with 5 and 6. Not to mention, it did damage on characterization and stuff because the characters in Scream 5 and 6 are somewhat pretty lame and everything. Even with what they do with the legacy characters is pretty lame. And I stopped and I thought to myself, you know something? The characters in the Scream television series, even though they are based on other characters from like the movies, just like 5 and 6 are, they had a more fresh and modern take on a lot of these characters and stuff. And it really surprised me. Now, of course, granted, I've said this before. When you make a television series based off of a movie, you can do a whole lot more with the characters because you have more episodes to develop them. That's fair, you know what I'm saying? And it's also a bit of a cheat when it comes to like, characters in the movie. But you don't even have to go the full season to know what some of these characters are about. And it's just the way they're presented right from the start is what I'm talking about. Like when you get your first introduction of them. And granted, I have said this before. When it comes to that of a slasher movie or Scream in particular, the only true backstory we really need is that of the final girl and that of the killer. The killer's motivation as to why they want to off the final girl, and of course everything that happened in the final girl's past that has caused all this crap that happened. Every other character in the movie, we just need a good distinction of who they are. We don't have to go into their past. The earlier movies did that very good with giving us characters that were unique and interesting, say with their original first movie. Then of course in the second movie it was like a copycat type thing. And even though they were slightly distinct from their counterparts from the first movie. Then of course you get into the third movie and it was just off the wall silliness, so I don't consider those characters real characters. Then, of course, you go to the fourth movie, which is a whole lot better than the third. And, I'd rather have that as the third or whatever, but whatever. But those characters, even though they was piggybacking off the original characters in the first movie, still felt unique and fresh in everything. Except for the blonde girl that got cut up, like she just had no character or personality whatsoever. She was just there to look good and get cut up. The one in the bedroom I'm talking about, not the one from the beginning of the movie, but in the middle of the movie. But anyway, all these characters were like different and everything. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, you get the 5 and you get the 6, where are just rehashes, literal rehashes of like original characters in the franchise. And of course, the only ones that are a bit different, of course, are our final girls and stuff. But when you get the characters like Mindy, Mindy is literally just a Randy ripoff. Through and through, the only difference is like, you know, she literally feels like she's living in a horror movie and stuff. Whereas I'll get into this a little bit more. And so, you know, you get these characters in 5 and 6, and either they have no development whatsoever, no distinct personalities, or they're literally just feel incomplete or just a rehash of the first. Interestingly, about the television series, they're rehashes of regular characters from the original franchise, but they're done in a more modern take, and that's what I like. They utilize the technology of today, which is something smart that the first Scream movie did with the cell phones. And they started doing that with 4 and 5 with the cell phones, but then they quickly just dropped that angle, which I don't know why. And they're not utilizing the technology of today. And the modern stuff is almost like they're stuck in the 90s, but living in the 2020s and stuff. Well, let's just start with our final girls, shall we? Let's start with Sydney, Sam, and Emma. So, for the most part, Sam is done pretty good in terms of backstory because she is the final girl. All of this stuff is happening because of something her mother did, which is the same thing with both Sydney and that of Emma. And so, for the most part, like when it comes to her characterization and stuff like that, I'm okay with it. You know, it's revealed that like she found out about her mom and like, you know, the affair, and that's what caused her stepdad, Tara's dad, to like leave. And after that, she just became a bad girl. She started doing drugs, and then she moved away. And you know, and when we see her popping pills and everything, because apparently she has hallucinations and stuff. But then, so here's the thing. Her characterization, like I said before, is completely fine. Only problem I have with that is that, like, we get told everything about her past, but we never see not one flashback. And that bothers me because with Sydney is innocent in all of this, just like a lot of the other final people, except for Dion and stuff like that, because he is guilty. But like but when it comes to that of like Emma and Sydney, with Sydney we get told a lot of stuff too, about what her mom did. But at least with Sydney, we get very quick flashbacks of Maureen Prescott with that Billy Loomis's dad, which happens to be the grandfather of Sam, and nobody mentions that. And also, like, where is he at exactly? And because he was nowhere in the 5th movie, and the actor doesn't exactly act that much, so he could have used the role and the money. But anyway. And then we get the flashback of Cotton Weary and that of Maureen Prescott. We get a little something of all this stuff we keep getting told, because in the past, in the first movie, all we kept just doing is getting told about, like, you know, Sydney's mom. But then we got little teeny tiny flashbacks here and there, which in the first 3 movies, which was great. That's what we needed, you know what I'm saying? And with Emma, of course, all this bad stuff is happening with her because of what her mom did in the past. And, you know, and we get those flashbacks of what happened with her mom and the Brandon James dude and stuff like that, and how he got murdered after he had a crush on her and this and that, and he had that disfigured face and stuff. But with Sam, we get no such flashbacks. Instead, we just get hallucinations of her thinking she sees Billy Loomis and like reflection mirrors and stuff. And so that's the only gripe I have with the Sam character. It would be nice to have a little flashback. But in the TV show, they went out their way to show us flashbacks and stuff of what Emma's mother did and and this and that. And I feel like that one flashback is all we needed. It's nice to show and not tell so much, but with Sam, we constantly get told. And of course, I guess you can throw Dion in this. Dion, not my camera. Dion is like we found out. Technically, Marcus, I should say, he stole his brother's identity and everything. And that was like very shocking to find out that he's pretending to be his twin brother the entire time, which is why all this bad stuff is happening to him and his friends. Now with Mindy, and Mindy's gonna show up a couple of times on this video. So it's Randy, Mindy, Amir, the last one, and what's that dude's name? Noah. So okay. Mindy is literally just a Randy ripoff. That's fine. We've had those before with like Robbie and everything. But Robbie was a little bit differently. See, the problem I have with Mindy is that Mindy is just like Randy, thinking they're living in like a slasher movie, but Mindy is way too meta. More meta than Randy. Everything that comes out of Mindy's mouth is meta slasher references and stuff. Whereas Randy only brought it out for certain like reasons and stuff to explain to people that, yo, this is too similar to that of a horror movie and we need to be careful. But other than that, he also said other stuff. Mindy, not so much. It's even to the point when it comes to Randy, you can tell Randy was the dorky nerd and everything. He literally looks like he can't get a girl, the way he dresses, the way he acts, all that other stuff. Mindy, not so much. In Scream 5, I had a hard time believing Mindy was the nerd because Mindy is way too hot looking and everything. And even though she dresses in tight, almost emo-ish type clothes, they still look cute and cuddly on her and make her looking hot. Then there's her hairstyle in Scream 5. Her hairstyle is amazing. Like, you cannot tell me that girl is a nerd. You know what I'm saying? She just didn't strike me as like the nerd type. Now, in Scream 6, she was a bit more believable. Her clothes were kind of muted in this green and brown kind of color, but still, once again, reminiscent to that of Randy, who wore green and brown a lot. But they look like something an older woman will wear, which is weird because she's in her early 20s or 19 or something like that. Also, her hairstyle changed. It's not a bad hairstyle, but it's a hairstyle that's more believable to that of her character, being kind of like this down-to-earth, like nerdy type character and stuff. Her other hairstyle was too wild and like, didn't make her seem like the nerdy type. But no matter what, she is a beat from beat Randy in terms of personality. Except for she's not kooky when she talks about the meta stuff like he is. She's excited about it, but she's not the kooky comedic type. And also her meta stuff got better in the 6th. Now, so I have a hard time believing she's a nerd. And I believe she can get any type of woman she wants and everything. And she does. Like, she was literally at a party and got with a girl. And the thing is that when you go to that of Noah is a better Randy in the modern day. Why? Because one, he looks like the type of nerd person who can't get a girl. He is literally a dork, and everything that comes out of his mouth is a dork. He relates everything back to nerd culture and everything and gets too gooberish about it. And not only that, but he's more modern in the sense that he's not just so much referencing and obsessed with horror movies. He's talking about true life murders and everything. I believe he has like a podcast over like the internet where you hear his voice and stuff. And he's talking about real life murders and how cool they are and everything. That right there is the difference that we needed. Because unlike Randy and Mindy, he's talking about actual real life murders and not just that of slasher movies and stuff. And the fact that he's putting this on the internet for everybody to hear sets him apart miles differently than the others and everything. Amir, on the other hand, is okay in the modern sense that he's not horror movie obsessed, but you do believe he is the nerdy, dorky type who is like, can't get the girl in there. I think he's overly nice and he's shy, he's timid, and all this other stuff. Mindy, on the other hand, can walk into a room, pick up a girl, and like, bam, that's that. And also with Mindy is rude. If you go back and you watch Scream 5 and 6, especially 6, she is rude in everything. A bit more towards men, but even though she tells her girlfriend, like, sorry, babe, I like you and everything, but I think you might be the killer. But she's also rude to females too, so that's a nice equal footing instead of just being rude to men. She was rude to Mindy. She was rude to Liv and everything. And so Amir is just that nice guy who just can't get the girl until like he does and stuff. And same thing with Noah. And so he's nerdy on a different level where he's not obsessing about movies, but it's just like a nerd, believable type person. Now we're back to Mindy again and Audrey and everything. And Audrey, they are our first like LGBT lesbian characters in the franchise. Aubrey was the first. Is it Aubrey or Audrey? I think it's Audrey. She was our first, and of course Mindy was our second. Audrey was written so much better as an LGBT character. With her, we had the lesbian struggle arc and everything where nobody knew she was a lesbian. She got found out by making out with a girl. Somebody recorded them, put them on the internet, and people started making fun of her and stuff. So she had to deal with all that and coming out to people. Then on top of that, her best friend she is in love with and gets jealous when she's with another guy. And that created some really interesting drama and stuff. But other than that, she is a good friend and she looks out for her friends, even though she kind of betrayed them by working with Ghostface at some point in time. But she embraces being like a lesbian, and you can tell with like her haircut and everything, and she's proud of who she's being. And they wrote her to where she is a really good LGBT character. Then we get to Mindy. Mindy, I had no idea was a lesbian until the party of Scream 5, and that is the third act when she hooks up with a random girl and she's making out with her. Other than that, that's the only time we know she's like a lesbian and stuff. Yeah, she has like a rainbow on her shirt in the beginning of the movie, but I didn't think nothing of it and stuff. And so, but then of course, in the sixth movie, she has a girlfriend this time. And her and her girlfriend, they hang out and everything. And, they'll kiss, but it's like, they are together and they're hanging out, but they're not in the way that, say, Sydney and Billy was, or Sydney and Derek was. And because her girlfriend, Akia, was written as such a minor character, you don't really think about it. Because even when we first see those two together at like the movie, not the movie, but the party, Mindy is moody for some reason. And, her girlfriend's just there being cute and cuddly and everything. And so then the writers decided, okay, when they're getting like chased by Ghostface and everything, not to have them kiss. To where the actress who plays Mindy, wrote that in herself. They allowed her to write that in because she felt like the kiss was very crucial and everything to show that these two actually cared for each other and they're actually dating. So the writers never really gave us that sense that, Mindy wasn't indeed like a lesbian, other than her just making out with girls. For all we know, she could just be somebody who likes making out with girls and everything, you know? And, so I always felt like they always dropped the ball with her in terms of her, like, her being a lesbian. Now, the thing about her that's different from Audrey is that she's a lesbian who's more accepted. Everybody knows she is, nobody cares that she is. That's fine because sometimes it's nice to have the struggle, sometimes it's nice not to have it. Sometimes it's better for storytelling to have it because it gives you more something to work off with, you know what I'm saying? But like I felt like the writers always wrote Audrey more better in terms of modern day when it came to her being like a lesbian and stuff. So we have Liv, Brooke, and Liv? Why would the movies name somebody after somebody from the television set? I don't know. It was so confusing. But anyway, Liv from Scream 5 is not even really a character. She's just there. And they tried to emulate the Scream 1 movie while having the supporting cast just like barely appear in the movie, right? And so the only thing we know about her is that she once had a relationship with an older man. After that, she disappears from the rest of the movie. She worries that somebody might be the killer. She wants to have sex with Chad at the party. He doesn't want to. Not because he's a gentleman, but because he doesn't know if she's the killer or not. That pisses her off where she just leaves him. He gets stabbed by the killer, and then she comes back in and wondering like where he's at, and then for everybody to get on her case, but like, you left your boyfriend, there's a killer running around, and so then she's all like, oh, you think I'm crazy? So then she tries to do her best I'm crazy type thing, but the actress is not selling it because her acting's just not very good in the movie, and that's all we know about her. So she's kind of like a Tatum type character, but with not the much bite as like she's Tatum. About as hollow as they come, but it's just like she's a know nothing. West is even more hollow. But anyway, then you get to Brooke in the television series, and Liv and Brooke look very similar to each other. Brooke is also that Tatum type character, but with Liv, you can't even tell she's friends with anybody in that group, right? And so when you do get to that Brooke, you can tell straight up that she's friends with the group. She has a boyfriend. They're going through some problems similar to that of like Liv in the movie. And then to top it all off, she's dating an older guy as well. I believe it's like the teacher. She also has daddy issues very badly. And she's the type of character who could be a queen bee, but it's not. She's grumpy and moody, and she has all these problems. Why couldn't they do that with Liv? I truly believe they tried to base Liv off of Brooke, but they just did a bad job on it. We we don't need to go all into like not Brooke, but Liv's backstory, but they could have did more with the whole, oh, she dated that older guy, or oh, her and Chad are having problems and stuff, and thinking like, she's the killer, whatever. Akia and Kim. Who is Akia? Well, she's Mindy's girlfriend, and you wouldn't know that because her name's not mentioned until around the time she's about to get killed by the killer. And Akia is just a very hollow character. She's literally just there to play like Mindy's girlfriend and get like, messed up by the killer. And throughout the only thing we know about her is that she dates Mindy. And she's rude to one straight dude and everything. And that's literally it. Like, and I hate that trope because, she is a female and she is a lesbian. And that's something we see a lot in modern day. And, what really bugs me is like, they didn't do nothing with Akia. Why couldn't they make her more like Kim? Kim, on the other hand, is super religious and she's an advocate and everything. And she stands up to like, she's an advocate for LGBT rights. She's an advocate for people of color and all this other stuff. And she is very, 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 very vocal. She doesn't care if she has to sass a man or sass a woman. That's equal footing for her and stuff. And, why couldn't they write her character more like Kim and everything? And that's all they had to do. They had to give, they should have gave her something, to make her into an actual character. But they didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, both of them are mouthy. But the thing is about Akia, she's only mouthy to that frat guy named Frank, who wanted to go upstairs with Tara, which Tara wanted to. Like, Tara wasn't drunk or nothing like that. Maybe she was tipsy, but Tara still had her wherewithal and everything, especially after the party. And so Tara was totally on board with that. And Akia didn't want her to go up there. And then she got rude with the dude. And then Chad got rude with the dude. And then the dude got tased in the balls and everything. And, I'm just kind of like, why couldn't, Akia be written to be an actual character with just like something? Wes and Liv both have parents that are cops and everything. And Wes, it's just Wes. Like, we don't know nothing about him other than, his mom's a cop. That is literally it. Like, yeah, he was friends with Tara and all them growing up, but that's really it. He has no substance to his character, like, whatsoever. Then you have Liv. She's smart at school. Her dad's a cop. You don't know if she's good or bad or not because she's good throughout the movie, but then they try to make you think she could be like a killer or something like that. Especially when it comes to, I think something happened where Dion found something in her room that, made her very suspicious. And then with her dad being a cop, she went and ratted out Dion so he can get arrested. Not so he can be in trouble, but so he can be in the safety of a police officer and everything. Because she knew the killer was coming after him. Why couldn't Wes do something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, she manipulated the situation and made things go the way she wanted to. Wes was just literally just there. And I thought they would have done more with his character because that dude's popularity is rising from his haunting nowadays and R.L. Stein to 13 Reasons Why. I don't even remember these people's names. Guy from across the building and whatever the drawing guy is from Scream season 2. I don't even remember their names, but anyway, it's the dude that keeps making out with Mindy. He's literally just there to make out with her. You assume he's the killer or some kind of creepy dude because he just looks creepy and everything. But it turns out he's just some dude who's making out with her. And he tries to save them by alerting them. And he has a ladder that he goes across the building with, which still has baffled people and baffles that of Sam. And wait, did I say he was making out with Mindy? I don't know. Sam, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So, it's never explained why he has that ladder to go across the building when he can literally just go outside and go across the building. Because both buildings are owned by the same person, and the mail slots are in Sam's building. And we saw him in Sam's building when they made out. And then that's when Chad like, hey man, y'all gotta come up here and see what's on the news. And so he knows how to get there. He don't need a ladder. So the question is, why did he have the ladder? Very creepy. And he was probably hooking up with somebody who just wanted to hurry and go through. Or heck if I know, you know what I'm saying? And so they kept trying to make it seem like he was the killer and everything, but he wasn't. And so, but his character is just feels so incomplete. Then when all the bad stuff is happening at the end, he wants to go with them, but she's like, no, I don't want to involve you, but I still want to date and make out with you. Okay, whatever. Then you get creepy dude from season 2. His dad is a cop. He's very creepy. People think he's the killer because he's always drawing people dying and demonic looking stuff. That is cool. That is in the modern day. He's just this emo type dude who has a fixation with killing and stuff like that. But he's never actually killed somebody. So he averts our expectations and thinking he's the new Ghostface when in actuality he is not. As opposed to the dude from the movie who just looks creepy but is all around a nice guy. But with the television series, you can't tell this dude is actually a killer or not. Chad, nice guy personality. His role is always the same in both movies. He's just the nice guy who, the first movie he has a girlfriend, but he doesn't want to sleep with her. But then in the second movie, he has a friend who he's protected of, and he does want to sleep with her at some point. And he keeps getting stabbed over and over and never dies. He's basically Derek, but Derek dies. Just the nice guy with the love interest. That's who Chad is. And they need to make him more. I could have sworn he wore a football jersey in the fifth movie, but I could be mistaken. But hey, why not give him some swag and everything? Why not make him similar to that of Marcus slash Dion and everything? Dion had swag to him and everything. He was a cool character. You know, he played in sports and all that, and he had goals and everything. Chad has no goals other than surviving and everything. Chad is just like a character who just happens to be there. But of course, Dion was the final boy and everything. But he still was a lot more interesting than, like, Chad was. Amber was just, I just don't know what to say about Amber in Scream 5. First, I thought she was a lesbian because that's what she was supposed to be. But it turned out she wasn't. So I went through the whole movie thinking she was. Then it turns out she's dating one of the Ghostface killers who's older than her. I don't like that underage crap. And she's Ghostface as well. And they're both psychotic who loves horror movies. And she just wants to do what the main Ghostface wants her to do. And so she goes on this killing spree. Throughout the entire movie, she's barely there. She's very bland towards the end. Her and kind of like Mindy kind of get into it when Mindy thinks she's like the killer and everything, and that pisses her off. And then of course she turns out to be a killer and psychotic and all that other crap. Well, here's the thing. She's just a boring, you will forget character until it's the whole Ghostface reveal. And kinda Jill is the same way. Jill was boring when Jill was just Jill, but when Jill revealed herself as Ghostface, she was cool. So Amber is basically a Jill Stewie type character and stuff. But now we get to, I think her name is Beth. From Scream 3. Beth was a different type of Ghostface and more of a modern age. One, she had the personality of being a goth girl. That's just personality on its own because she looks so much different than everybody else. But then they show she can strip all that down and look like a non-regular goth person and stuff. And her personality changes as well when she's dressed as just a regular person as opposed to that of a goth person. She starts to have feelings for Amir, who is the nerd, and you'll never think she would, but she's also huge into horror movies and stuff, and she has all this like Randy type knowledge and crap. She could have been a Mindy, but she's more so an Amber. And the thing about her that was even more interesting is that her big reveal, because she's the accomplice Ghostface who's dating the main Ghostface. And she's just like, her motive is that some people are just born bad. Some people are just evil and want to kill people. Whereas with Amber, we just don't know. We just know she's banging this dude and they both like horror movies. It would have been nice if they would have gave Amber a bit more of a personality boost other than just being this regular character. Why not jazz her up and make her like goth or something like that? Or emo or something. And last, just people of color and representation and stuff. I think it's great that the Scream movies and the television series are getting more diverse. Season 1 and 2 was not that diverse, and then season 3 was very diverse. Scream 4, 2, and 3 only had like one black person who was barely there. Scream 4, Scream 4 also had one black person that was just there, like I said. But in Scream 5 and Scream 6 is when diversity really started to happen. And it was great. You have 2 Latino leads who are the final girls. You have a biracial brother-sister duo and everything. And, you have other races scattered in throughout, like, for minor characters and stuff. However, there's really no representation in terms of how these other races act or talk or whatever in the movie franchise. Not so much either in the television franchise, but you do get a distinction between that of people and their races. Like take Dion and um Jay, who are half brothers and stuff. You can tell they are black. They act black, they talk black, they have swagger to them. Dion Marcus has like swagger to him when he talks and everything, but Jay acts like a straight up ghetto like black dude. He's like, a thug and everything, and he does things he shouldn't be doing. And he pretty much like he brings on the slang, he brings on the look, the vibe, the feel. You can tell that this is a black character written as a black character, as opposed to a black character written as like a white character. And then you have the movies. You have Tara and Sam, Mindy and Chad, who are people of colors, but they're written to be like white characters. And I remember I was watching a YouTube video on Fresh Off the Boat, and this one Asian dude was all like, because like I said before, there's so many different types of representation. There's just having the representation there, but then they having them act like that of their race. And he said that, in Fresh Off the Boat, an entirely Asian cast, they were whitewashed to act like white characters, which what caused the creator of the show, who is Asian and the show is based off his life, to leave the show because he didn't like the whitewashing in the show. And when you have Mindy, Chad, Sam, and Tara, they have been basically whitewashed and everything. With Sam and Tara, they are Latinas, the first Latinas we've ever had in this franchise. And they are not only there, but they are our leads. And have you ever heard them speak Spanish like once? I never have. Here's the thing. I don't expect cultural representation to be flooded into the Scream franchise, but a nice little hint of it would be nice. A pinch of it. It would be nice to hear Tara or Sam speak Spanish. And also, okay, here's the thing. If you're like a non-person of color and you've ever been to a person of color's house, you will see at least, there's two different types. You will see some who have been like either whitewashed or Americanized, and you won't see nothing of their culture, or you'll go to a house and you will see something in the house that's cultural and everything to that of their race. It might be a lot, it might be a little, but at least it's like something. With both Tara and Sam, we saw none of that in their house, yet they have a Latino mother and everything. As for the father, well, with Sam, we know it's Billy, so she has a white father. But with Tara, who is her father? It's never been revealed. Is it a Hispanic dude? Is he another race? Like, what exactly is it? Because the last name Carpenter doesn't sound Latina and stuff. But there's no Latino representation whatsoever in their house or in their apartment. And you never once hear them speak like, Spanish, not even like once and everything, which is weird because both actresses came from television series, two completely different television series, where there was Latino representation and Spanish talk spoken in both their shows, and one of them shows was a Disney Channel show. Then you have Chad and Mindy, who are half black and half I don't know what. They could be half black and half white, or half black and Jewish. I say Jewish because I'm not sure what Jamie Kennedy and the actress who plays his sister are. They might be Jewish, but I have to look that up. So they're mixed with black, that's all I know. And for the most part, it's nice not seeing them ghetto and everything, but at that same time, like a stereotypical black person, but at that same time, you want them to have some type of swag to them in that ghetto like reference, But both characters have literally been whitewashed. You have Mindy, who is literally Chad, and Mindy, who is Randy, and you have Chad, who is kind of like Derek and everything. And neither one of them give off like a vibe that they're black and everything. You don't hear them listening to rap music. They don't dress like they're black. Like Jay, you can tell straight up that dude, not only is he black, but he is straight from the hood and everything. And you don't get that in like the movie sense. And that's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like you think you would have like some like pinch of it in their characters, but you don't in everything. I mean, even with the Kim character, she's an advocate for like black civil rights and everything. You don't see Chad and Mindy doing that. And it's just kind of odd and stuff. But like I said before, this is why I think the television series, whether people love it or hate it, they did these characters better and more realistic in the modern like day and everything. And I just find that odd they can't do that for like the movies and stuff. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.